Convention officially kicked off yesterday with the opening general session. Here's Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Russell Nemitz with more on that event.
Thank you, Kevin. You know, one of this year's highlights at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show is having the opportunity to visit with some of the keynote speakers. And this year we were very privileged to have Dr. Beck Weathers as one of this year's key presenters. And first of all, thank you for joining us here at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show. Before we talk about your message that you delivered to thousands and thousands of folks here in Nashville, you're no stranger to agriculture. You actually spent a little bit of time out there on a farm and ranch when you were still in high school.
That's true. One of my close friends, Dad, had some land on both sides of the Red River up near Burke-Burnett, Texas. And so I spent my junior year summer working on the ranch and for $1 a day and all I could eat. And they lost some serious money on that. They probably should have gone for a straight wage and made me pay for my food. I don't know that I was a great hand. I was pretty hard working and willing, but my skill level was lacking a little bit. But I would plow all night, because I was up in Wichita Falls area, and that summer it was around 115 most of the time, and so the tractor didn't have any fancy air conditioning or anything, so it was a lot cooler. And then, other times you'd work cattle or bring cattle down to Fort Worth to the stockyards, that kind of thing. And I had a great time. I loved doing it, and not just the experience of it, but I like the individuals that are involved. I felt really comfortable and excited about being here with everybody, because these are people that are very familiar to me from when I was growing up.
Well, of course, you later went on to become a very well-known doctor in Texas, but you also delivered a very important message to the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show attendees, more specifically about your expedition a few years ago in climbing Mount Everest and having a very challenging situation and surviving that climb.
Well, I got interested in climbing about 10 years before I went to Everest. One of my friends in Dallas, Dick Bass, was the first guy to complete the 7 Summits quest, which is to climb the tallest mountain on each of the 7 continents. And I thought if Dick could do that, somebody else, a feat North Dallas pathologist, could probably give it a shot. And so Everest wound up being number 7. I was turning 50 that year. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I better get on with it, because your body at some point quits allowing you to go to high altitude. And so I knew the people, I knew what was required, and so I felt I was good to go. I was involved with a group which had a lot of experience. Rob Hall basically initialized commercial climbing on Everest, and was widely regarded as one of the best. And so on our summit day, everything was going reasonably well until I went blind, which actually wound up saving my life because it stopped me from climbing at about 27,500 feet. But we got caught in a serious storm, and that led to the deaths of 8 individuals, and for many years thereafter, that was the singular most deadly day in Everest history. And I don't really know why I'm still alive. As far as I know, I'm the only person in mountaineering history that has lived through something exactly like this, because I spent over 15 hours in hypothermic coma before basically standing up and walking alone back to the high camp. So I'm actually in the Guinness Book of World Records, not under any particular subject, just under surviving, just staying alive, and which kind of surprised me. I always thought I was kind of a live fast, die young, and leave a good-looking corpse kind of guy, but when it came right down to it, not so much.
Well, of course, you later went on to tell that story in a book that you wrote, and now it's been made into a movie. And I guess, how does that all correlate back to your message here at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show? I mean, just tell us a little bit about how that experience is kind of relays to the U.S. beef cattle industry.
Well, every part of agriculture is not easy. It's a business that requires a huge amount of work, a lot of tenacity, which has got to be done over long periods of time to make it happen. And so coming through, surviving Everest, put me in a position where I had to develop that sense of tenacity. And I learned actually that out of some of the more difficult parts, I actually gained strength and my life got better. And so some of this story is about surviving, some of it's getting to hear an adventure story, but at the end of it, it's what do you learn about yourself that is important in life. And I've gotten a little bit older than I was when I went off to climb Everest, and hopefully I have managed to gain some insights on what is important in life. I mean, if you can't learn something by dying, you're a serious slow learner. And so I guess the big take home is the very end of the talk when I talk about the lessons that I've learned, because I think they're common to everybody. And if I came out at the start of the talk and just said, this is what's important, that'd be a big yawn, and everybody would say, yeah, I know that. Everybody knows that. But I get to spend some time getting people into a place and into a world that they would not otherwise see, that hopefully makes them receptive to receiving those life lessons.
Well, we're very honored to have you here at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, Dr. Weathers, and thank you for taking time and delivering some very, very important life messages from what he learned on that, what else could be called a tragic day on Mount Everest many, many years ago. With that, Kevin, we'll go ahead and send it back to you.